What's up, guys? GP here, back with another episode of GP's Library. And today I'll be discussing the book Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It is essentially his memoir about how he got starting the company Nike. If you're not familiar with Phil Knight, he did start Nike. I think is currently still the CEO, at least the former CEO. He might not run day-to-day operations. I'm actually not too sure about that. But I read this book it finished it June 24th, 2022, so just a little bit over a year ago. And I read it on my phone. This is actually the first time, or one of the first books I ever read, like on my phone. I'm actually filming on it right now. I think this is the iPhone 12 mini. And so it's a small phone, but I actually realized how useful reading an ebook on your phone is. If you ever take public transportation, which I was daily at the time of reading this, it is so easy to just whip out your phone and just have a book available. And I read books so fast on my phone. This is by no means my typical way of reading, but I will say I flew through books because this isn't a small book. If I had the physical copy, I'd show it to you. It is by no means a small book, and I remember getting through this book extremely quickly. So getting into my main takeaways, my first main takeaway is it takes money to make money. Phil Knight didn't come from nothing. He didn't come from no money. He gives some perspective on how his family wasn't extremely rich, but even when a lot of people in their memoirs or in their stories, they say not extremely rich, still their parents have like thousands and thousands of dollars to invest in them. And so that kind of gave me that perspective of that. The startup costs of business. And I always say, when I say startup costs of business, I feel like a lot of people think about like a venture capitalist coming in and giving you millions of dollars. No, I'm talking about that first 50 grand that it takes to get a lot of businesses started. He had access to that. And so that was my first big takeaway, is that he was able to get money to travel all around the world. He was able to get money to not have like student loan debt. He was able to get money to start from a good position as he was starting the company. He was hungry and he was trying, and don't get me wrong, he worked his ass off, but it takes money to make money. My second takeaway is what you start with, and when you start something, eventually it will change, kind of whether you want it to or not. And in the example of this book, he talks about how when he started Nike, they had like that one waffle design for running shoes, and they're trying to push one running shoe. And then over time, obviously they added on all these sports. Nike changed it to a whole different thing. It changed into a lifestyle brand as well. And just now, as I go to a lot of Nike events, I go to a lot of Nike running events out here, they're just now revamping as like really a running company. You know, for a lot of years through my childhood, they moved a lot more into Jordan and lifestyle, and they even developed some other things really well. Like they got big with soccer cleats, they got bigger in baseball a little bit. They have some of these footholds, obviously golf with Tiger Woods, so they have these footholds in different sports, and they got away from being just a running company. If you guys are familiar with the brand Burton, that's another example. Burton used to be just snowboarding. Now they're kind of like a winter lifestyle brand. It's not just snowboarding. So brands evolve, companies change as need be, as you want it to, or as just more opportunities come alive. So it's interesting is when you dive into something, just being willing and open to it changing over time is a huge key to me. My next takeaway is to surround yourself with experts. Phil Knight didn't know a lot about shoes when he started the company. He didn't know a lot about business in general. He didn't know a lot about stuff, but he found people that could help him. He found people that could help him with shoe design, with sourcing the shoes, with buying in different coasts, and he had to trust people and delineate some of the power he had as he grew his small, kind of like flailing Nike young company. To let it grow, he had to find other people that he trusted and actually trust them to do their job. That is a huge key when you want to grow a business like he did. It is something that I feel like stunts a lot of us, or a lot of people out there, is when you can't trust other people to do work. And so he really trusted the people that he surrounded himself with, and he surrounded himself with the right people, and they grew exponentially faster than if he had tried to do everything himself, which isn't possible. And then the last thing is what I brought up earlier. Reading a book on your phone, and just having a book available on your phone is so useful. Just having it there. you'll be surprised how much more reading you do. Sometimes in bed, I would just sit there, scroll, read a book on my phone. I'd be sitting on the toilet, had my phone in my hand, just reading. You just get in an easy like 10, 15 pages. So for anybody out there who's trying to build a reading habit, having books on your phone is an easy way of revamping that habit because it's right there. And when you're scrolling on Instagram, you're scrolling on Twitter, you have another option to scroll over to something that's positive or at least more constructive. I'm not saying everything on there is negative or non-constructive, but it's cool to have another option on your phone rather than just social media. And this is actually reminding me that I don't have a book ready to read on my phone currently right now. I have others that I've read. I've probably read 5 or 6 books on there, but it's nice to have it as an option, as well as audiobooks. So who's this book for? It's for sports fans. Nike is a fixture in pretty much all American sports in the last 20 years. So just seeing how that was founded, seeing kind of the behind the scenes, how it grew, what it's become, the culture that it's established, I think that's a pretty cool thing for people who just enjoy sports. Shoe fans, obviously Nike's huge in the shoe game. They kind of even made some of these trends, like invented some of these trends and having a limited supply and certain types of things and all the different collabs they've done with celebrities and stuff like that, and how they've even transformed it outside of sports. So is Adidas, but that's a cool thing that you can get from this book. Aspiring entrepreneur, seeing somebody that, like I said, didn't come from nothing, but still really, he went to Japan like multiple times at the beginning of the career or the beginning of the company to get the right shoe design, stuff like that. He did what needed to be done. He was willing to uncover every rock to make sure that Nike worked, and that's inspiring to read. If you're trying to start something, you can't really be told no too easily, within obviously legal parameters. But if you really want something, you just got to make that shit shake. And if you want to read about a mogul, a mogul who's had influence in multiple different spheres, who owns multiple companies, if you just want to read about a dude who's just powerful and has a clothing company, has a sportswear company, it's for you as well. Guys, Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. It's an inspiring book. I really enjoyed it. The stories that have culminated in making him to who he is and building the culture of a company that what it is, it's inspiring to me, and I enjoyed it. And obviously, I didn't bring this up. I might have to put this in earlier. But Nike fans, if you like Nike, that's the number one fan of this book. If you like Nike and you like the impact they've had sports-wise, culture-wise, whatever-wise, this book is for you. Thank you guys for coming back to GP's Library. It's been another episode. Make sure you go pick up a book. I'll see you guys next time.